The way everybody watches tape, it's not the same. Why the fighting nerds are the fighting nerds? It's because of Pablo. He's a genius.
He's gonna step and then hit you with the strike.
So once we understood this pattern, he's not that dangerous anymore.
Most fighters won't post. They know we are watching. Numbers are just numbers. Like, if you don't watch the fights, you don't know what the numbers are about. Because I'm doing it for legacy, not for the money.
Good, very good answer, very good answer.
Yo, this is Dustin Poirier. Bienvenido a Fight Minds. Su Fight Minds.
Bienvenue sur Fight Minds. Pousse.
Bonjour à tous et bienvenue sur Fight Minds. Aujourd'hui, nous avons le privilège d'accueillir Ariel, surnommé The Nerd Behind the Nerds, l'homme qui s'occupe des analyses et des stratégies chez les Fighting Nerds. C'était donc logique de l'inviter sur Fight Minds pour qu'il nous fasse découvrir son monde. Ariel, nice to meet you. I'm super happy to have you here. To be honest, it has been quite some days that we are pretty excited with the team to be talking and having the chance to have an interview with you. You are called the nerd behind the nerd. Can you tell us a little bit more about you? Explain us why they call you like this.
First of all, thank you for having me here. It's an honor to give an interview. Like, you know, I'm not used to being on the media.
Yes.
They are calling me the nerd behind the nerds now. I got here in the Fighting Nerds because I developed a software to analyze data on UFC fighters.
What is your background? How did you? So what was the thing that's even sports related or about your life? Where do you come from, and how did you manage to get into that?
I used to play soccer when I was younger, so like for my whole life, I all I thought about was soccer. So I'm a sport guy before anything. I went to the USA for a year. I was trying to get into college there. I was in high school. It didn't work out, mostly because of COVID. I came back to Brazil and I was not sure what I was going to do with my life because my dream was to be in the USA. I went to college for a year for marketing and I said, this is not what I like to do in my life. And I started to learn programming on the internet. So I was studying like every day, 10 to 12 hours a day, learning by myself. I learned a lot more than I was learning in college. And I was working with coding, programming, so I got into Python language. In Python, I found myself trying to do algorithms on predicting sports results.
But was it just soccer at the beginning, or you already were a fan of MMA for a long time?
I got into MMA recently. It was mostly soccer. I was a soccer guy, like pure soccer. When I was a kid, I didn't want to talk about anything else. It was just soccer. And I got into MMA when I started doing these algorithms. I was testing to see what was better. I found a lot of success predicting MMA results.
I was a bit surprised that MMA didn't have yet some people doing what you do, because of course there is this famous movie in baseball where they use data to analyze everyone, and soccer is football. You know, in Europe we say football, so if you want to say football you can. But I was surprised that MMA, even if it was young, that there was not yet someone doing something like this. And then I bumped into a video of you that was a video where you give a tip against Bobby Green. I mean, it's not his name anymore, but we know it's Bobby Green. And that you found, thanks to your software, that every time that he would launch, he would do a little step.
So you see here, I'm circling his foot because he's gonna step and then hit you with the strike.
So once we understood this pattern, he's not that dangerous anymore.
And I thought it was so interesting that thanks to a software you could find like patterns, and it's a little detail. It's not that obvious. It's not like an obvious step that you make. Can you explain a little bit more about that particular thing?
Actually, this was not on the software. My software is pure data.
Oh, okay.
We are working on something now, but for now, my software is pure data. We don't have video. And a lot of my work is watching tape.
Okay.
And I'm glad I'm here to explain because I see people commenting on the internet, oh, okay, they hired someone to watch tape. Everybody does that. But it's not all that. Why the fighting nerds are the fighting nerds? It's because of Pablo. He's a genius. He's creating his own philosophy, his own way of seeing fights. The way everybody watches tape, it's not the same. I got in the fighting nerds because of my software, because of my data project. And I'm learning a lot from Pablo on how to watch tape. But with his own view. So guys, you're saying he's just watching tape. Everybody does that. No, we have Pablo, and we only us have Pablo. So relax. And but also why I'm the nerd behind the nerds, because I brought the data part, and we are trying to revolutionize how we study fighters, we study opponents, putting together Pablo's view and data.
Okay. Can you tell us what would be the difference? What is the thing that you feel that you do different than just watching the tape? Can you give us an example?
What we are looking for when watching tape. I cannot give a lot of examples, but we are not just looking like what strikes he throws. We are looking deeper into other details.
Okay. And can you explain us a little bit more about, let's say, the process? Like, imagine I come, I say, tomorrow I've got a fight, I got this opponent, I've got 10 tapes. Can you explain a bit more about the process, what you're doing? Like, what would be a typical day for you?
And first of all, if it's one of our fighters we got here like for a long time, we already know them very well. So I don't need to study our own fighters because I know them very well. But sometimes we have new fighters coming, and I study them like they are an opponent. I try to see like what we could improve in his game. So we'll focus on that on the trainings. Okay, after I study our own fighter, so we have the fight scheduled. I take a look on the opponent's fights. I watch them as much as I need. Like for a week, I'm watching the fights every day. I use my software. I get the data I need, and first thing I do, I separate which data I think it's most important, because there's a lot of data, and if I give everything to the fighters, it's a lot.
It's too much information.
So much information. So I need to separate what's most important. After I do that, I've watched videos and separate the data. I write everything down I noticed on the opponent. And after I do that, I just start making videos, editing videos, and sending to our fighter. And Pablo will use them. Pablo, Flavio, and all the coaches, they will use the videos to make personalized training for each athlete.
Usually when you do your analyze, you said that you analyze the opponent.
Yeah.
But can you also find patterns about your own fighters that they should change?
Yeah, mostly for new fighters that come here, because we have a very unique style of fighting. So like everybody has its own qualities. As Pablo like Pablo say, he likes to say, everybody is a different animal. So when a new fighter comes here, the first thing he needs to know is which animal he is.
Okay.
So he has his unique style, and he's going to implement our style to his game. So he's not going to change everything, but when they come here, they usually change. We say them to change some stuff. If you watch like Michał Oleksiejczuk last fight, he did his camp here, and you can see he fought differently than he used to.
Yes.
But of course, with the same power he always had. So
how do you classify this data? Like an example, as you said, there are some fighters that fight in a certain way. And then after they change their way of fighting, what do you consider recent data or new data? How do you classify all of that?
That's why you need to watch tape too, because numbers are just numbers. Like if you don't watch the fights, you don't know what the numbers are about. Let's say we are fighting against a southpaw fighter. So of course the data against southpaws,
the data is going to change about southpaw.
Yeah.
Then if it was general data, this is
yeah,
what
yeah, exactly.
Okay. And also, do you also analyze things that are outside of fighting in like official fight?
Yeah, we are always looking for trainings if they are available. Most fighters won't post because they know we are watching. But we try to see the Bryce Mitchell fight.
Yes.
We are watching every interview, how to see how is his mindset for the fight. We like to see the mindset a lot. You can see a lot about the fighter by his mindset.
It's a thing that we've been speaking a lot on our channel. How is it going in his life in this moment? Like an example, he has been winning a lot. He's in a good win streak. He feels powerful, and then of course, there are many things that you have to take into consideration. There is a weight cut, and of course, time difference, and sometimes country is different, and everything, and food. There are certain things that you can feel and be like, okay, we can feel that he's feeling this way or that way, and that this could have an impact. Of course, I don't know what type of impact, but you can see that there is something. Do you also do the same, or this doesn't count really?
Yes, 100%. Like if the fighter doesn't adapt well to the fight week, he's not gonna be 100% at the fight. And you said, like, I don't know what, but you can see something, and we have a lot of that too. You have that feeling that something is right or not.
Exactly.
So,
Yes, and
there's a lot of feeling too.
can you give us like a precise example or something where you felt that you made the difference?
So it's difficult to point one thing. I think the Bobby Green example, Mauricio Rufus fight is very impacting. When we map a fighter successful, I'll give an example. Jean Silva versus Melsik Pagdasarian. Pablo says we stage, we not train. And on that fight, for me watching it, it felt really like it wasn't a fight. It felt like a dance. Like Jean was dancing with the opponent. He knew every step and he had an answer for every step. So I think on that fight for me, it was a perfect example of our work.
So you mean more like as a global thing, because you analyzed you mapped all the possibilities and knowing that when this would happen, this is happening, this is happening, this is happening. So as he knew, he was adapting all the time to all the things that he was proposing.
Exactly.
Okay. And can you tell me approximately how long does it take for you to prepare for a fight?
The preparation goes for the whole training camp.
Okay.
Like till the last week, till the fight week, we are still making adjustments. But for my part, studying the patterns of the opponent, I try to finish everything up as soon as possible so they can work on it during the practice. So, for example, for this last fight, Pratis was gonna fight Geoff New. So we took 2 to 3 weeks to study Geoff New, and he got injured. And now we have 1 month to study Ian Gary, and we make the workforce and studied everything, send all the videos in 1 week, every information in 1 week, and then they had the rest of the month to prepare for that.
Now you have more time, but imagine Khamzat Chimaev says, okay, I accept the fight against Caio, but it's in 1 or 2 weeks. Would you accept it? Because it's difficult for you. I mean, I guess that you will do it with the time that you have, but would you accept it? Is it possible for you to say no? It's not enough time?
I think if that happens, Caio will definitely accept it. He
Yeah.
wants to fight
Yeah,
anytime.
for sure. I mean, maybe not because this is for a belt and for a
Yeah.
famous name. But let's say Jean Silva is against Yair. This way, it's not like as important as the one that I just mentioned.
Yeah. To decide if they're gonna fight or not, it comes to the fighter, and we are
Okay.
gonna do the best to. If I need to not sleep one day and do 10 videos in one night, I will do it. But it's a different process. We trust our fighters too. They are very intelligent, and I know if Gia takes a fight for tomorrow, he will be ready.
Okay,
But of course, my work would be different.
for sure. And you said that you developed your own software.
Yeah.
Is it something that you plan on using even for other people than your own team?
100% for the fighting nerds.
Okay. Because imagine like the data that you have now. Of course, it would be very valuable information, and as it's a new sport, so you are thinking that this would be just for your team then.
Yeah, I'm only doing for fighting nerds because I'm doing it for legacy, not for the money.
Okay, I like that. Good. Very good answer. Very good answer. Can you tell me a little bit more about how you think this is gonna evolve? Do you think that there will be more and more people like you that have their own software, that develop their own tools, or you think that there will be more like agencies? Maybe. What do you think is going to be the future for the sport?
I'm in a place right now that I've always wanted to be, but I've never imagined I would be, which is I have the possibility to create something that never existed before. So a lot of people, after I was on ESPN, they are DMing me and they are saying like, can you give me tips? How can I study data analysis to MMA? And I thinking, what am I gonna say? Because I was thinking the same thing. I didn't find anything, so I went and made my own stuff.
I do think, and the results are speaking for themselves. You're truly having results that I don't remember any team having this type of result. You're going to say Khabib, but it's a different way of seeing things. But in this case, you are taking all the advantages, disadvantages of different type of profiles in weights and everything. And you, thanks to data, you are finding success. So I really do believe that I haven't seen a team doing what you're doing at the moment. What were like the things where you're feeling frustrated because you're like, oh, if I could have this information or that information? Can you give me some example?
Right now, at the moment, I'm thinking, as you said, the results are good. It's going well, but we definitely have a lot of people trying to do what we do, working with data and creating their own stuff. So I'm thinking, what's the next step? It's everything is very new, you know. As I said, we are creating something that doesn't exist. So I'm in a process right now of thinking, what's next? What do we need? So I'm not sure, but I'm doing a lot of meetings with some AI companies. So if you want a straight answer, AI, but not AI to do the thinking. Some people might have success with it, like using AI to get this type of patterns. But personally, I think you have like a brilliant mind, as we have with Pablo. But I'm thinking on using AI a different way.
Oh.
And as I said, I can't really tell you because we are creating.
I get it. Recently, Meta announced that they would be the partner for capturing all the the cameras and angles, and have really new ones where you could have like a headset and basically you can be the fire in front. So there will be a lot of things. So I think that if you recollect all that information through different angles, the information that you might have will be really mind-blowing.
Yeah, of course. Since AI being a subject, I always thought like AI won't ever replace humans, but will be a very, very good assistant. And that's what I'm trying to build here.
We have always this debate about there are two profiles. The specialized one, like Habib or, Alex Pereira, or you have people that are more like general, good in everything. What do you think is the most interesting in terms of data? Do you think that we will have more people that are just specialized, or do you think there will be more people that are like generalist, like more good in every field?
From the top of my head, like thinking right now, it makes sense to be more generalist people, because when you have access to information, get on Instagram and you see the best techniques being shown on grappling. You'll see the best striking coaches in the world giving tips. So of course there are going to be people there getting better on every aspect of the game, because you have access to the best information.
I understand.
So it's not only data, it's like globalization, really.
Okay, perfect. Ariel, really, it was a pleasure to have you here. Thank you very much for your time, plus with the time difference and everything. I really appreciate it. I also want to congratulate you because so far, as we said, we are really amazed by the result of your team, and hopefully it can continue like that. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Jonathan. It was very nice talking to you.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Bye.